Does gradualism even exist in evolutionary biology? Gradualism, if you're not familiar, is basically the concept that through genetic mutations and kind of survival of the fittest outcompeting, species kind of gradually acquire new phenotypes or characteristics that eventually culminate in the species that we see today in an ever-going process. I'm sure we've all seen some sort of picture of the whale transforming from something on the land to in the sea. And we're supposed to believe that in between these species are kind of gradual changes that ultimately led up to these massive differences. But what if that's completely wrong? What if all of these species that you see above us aren't gradually transforming into the whale from top to bottom, but rather that each of these are distinct individual species themselves, that there is no gradualism, and that there's some sort of environmental factors, some sort of combination of how heredity works, that it's not a gradual transition, because that would take too long, the argument goes, but rather that species come fully formed. Famously, Gould's punctuated equilibrium, in certain interpretations, seems to back up this claim, in that it demonstrates that in the fossil record, that species don't gradually transform their phenotypes or their characteristics from one to the next, but rather speciation mostly occurs during rapid geological or environmental changes. And one interpretation of that is that there is some sort of two-way dialectic between the emergence of the characteristics of species, or the origin of how species work and its speciation, and the environment itself. All this is preface is that I'm a very dumb guy, barely made it through college, but I thought it was a really interesting debate. So what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. Where am I wrong?